Coming up on this edition of ATV News.
We closed in November thinking we were going to be moving into the new library in December.
We'll tell you how those plans differed from reality.
These people are awesome. They're a whole lot more brave than I am.
We'll show you why these people were swimming so fast on Saturday.
Our snow has had a chance to melt this week. I'll show you whether we could see another dusting or if this green ground could have a chance to stick around.
In sports, we'll tell you why last night's win meant so much to Coach Sprinkle.
All that and more. This is ATV News.
From the campus of Utah State University in Logan, Utah, the Department of Journalism and Communication presents the award-winning newscast, ATV News.
We're just really thankful that everyone has been so patient while we've worked through this process.
You're going to have to wait a while longer before you can get back to the Logan Library after some construction delays. Welcome to ATV News. I'm Savannah Bernard.
And I'm Julie Rodriguez. The new Logan City Library will have to wait a little while longer to open its doors. The library has been operating in the Logan City Service Building as a temporary home, but that closed in November in anticipation of the new building opening. And even though some books had made it onto the shelves already, Library Director Karen Clark says construction delays and bad weather have been the biggest setbacks.
It's been kind of a dreary January that we had to wait this long and we couldn't be opening on Monday. That's been discouraging for me and for our staff.
I'm waiting. The library was supposed to open on January 29th. Clark says she and her staff are excited about the new location.
It's been kind of a dreary January that we had to wait this long. And
this year's Sundance Film Festival kicked off on Thursday, January 18th. Every year, audiences at the festival can see independent films the Institute says are groundbreaking. Sundance says its mission is to foster new voices in storytelling, amplify original voices, and inspire new ideas. The Institute released the filmmakers' demographics. This year, they say people of color make up 47% of filmmakers, 44% are women, 22% identify as LGBTQ+, and 4% as a person with a disability.
One of those diverse storytellers is American contemporary painter Titus Kaphar, debuting his first featuring film, Exhibiting Forgiveness, in the U.S. dramatic category. In this still you see Andre Holland in a fictionalized version of Kaphar's life. He plays an artist whose estranged father comes back into his life.
The film itself is art. For me, I wanted to think of this film as a painting in motion. And as a painter, that is the craft I know. And so I use the same kinds of thinking to bring this film to reality.
Kaphar's paintings are featured throughout the film, illustrating emotions connected to the main character's memories.
How often do you see children in front of a screen? I visited a family and went inside a classroom to show you how some children use technology. These brothers are playing Minecraft on their tablets, but their mother says this technology could be a problem.
We're surrounded by it, so it's very hard to get away from it.
Experts say since technology will always be a part of children's lives, it's important for parents to provide a balanced environment for them.
A parent's primary role is to be their teacher.
Barker says parents should do activities with their kids, like play with Legos.
You see these white bricks?
Your children could also help you with chores around the house, like doing the dishes. And because kids are exposed to technology,
we have to kind of learn to work with the electronics in school settings.
In a classroom at a local school, a teacher uses technology as a resource.
Great to have you back in the Dreambox neighborhood. Have fun on your learning adventures. what I find is that it's on their level, and then when I swoop in and see what they're working on, and maybe even are at a roadblock with, then I can say, oh, let's work through this together. 7, 6, 5, 4. I couldn't do that if I were a classroom of one teacher and 24 students. Do you see how that minute hand is saying 37? Where would it go?
Whether a teacher or parent,
Life takes intentionality. You know, being intentional about what we're putting in front of our children.
Savannah Bernard, ATV News.
The Bear Lake Monster Winter Fest took place in Garden City over the weekend, and some festival goers got real cold by choice.
So good! Woo! What time of blitz? Roll time!
Some felt the polar plunge calling their name, and others used it as an excuse to wear a costume. Either way, jumpers paid $35 to jump into Bear Lake in the middle of January. And while organizers were excited about the proceeds to help the family plays, the festival's chair says she is glad she didn't have to jump in.
These people are awesome. They are a whole lot more brave than I am because I don't see myself jumping in the lake anytime soon.
Costume jumpers competed in a contest before taking the plunge. From Batman and Robin to a family of plungers, more than 300 jumpers showed up this year. One jumper said he came here all the way from Germany, and coming up, here we can see a cute little squirrel enjoying the rays of sunshine on his fluffy little tummy. The current temperature is 46 degrees, and after weather,
it is an experience like no other to be able to help out with living history like this.
We'll show you where you can relive medieval warfare.
Hello, parents and prospective freshmen of Utah State. You seem tense. Please take a load off. Here at Utah State, we know the value of balance in student life. Balance. Balance. Balance! Utah State Student Housing, a balanced way of life.
The surplus store. Someone's trash is about to be my treasure.
We have cords and cables here. We have bags full of towels and sheets. Do you want this fold-up mattress? Because we don't.
We got keyboards, paint cans, whatever this is, typewriters, computer monitors.
It's destiny on the line, and we want you at surplus.
Products are not guaranteed to work. All sales are final. This commercial is not endorsed by Utah State.
Welcome to ATV Weather. I'm Joe Cooney. Starting with our national radar, the main system we're seeing is along the Pacific coast, with a good amount of rain in the more southern Pacific coast, mainly over California, and still some rain, but also a bit of snow up in the northern Pacific coast near Washington, Oregon, and even into Canada. Now, over Utah, the skies are pretty clear today, but let's zoom in on that a bit so we can see that there, again, isn't anything we could have seen on the national radar. But we do see a bit of activity over Nevada. Even though there's not much going on today, over the next coming week, we do expect some of that activity from the Pacific coast to move over towards us. Now, let's go over to the webcams to get a good look at the nice blanket of fog in Cache Valley. We've seen some of this fog this week, but we do expect that fog to clear up later today and going into tomorrow. In our 7-day forecast, we can again see that today we predict sun, and tomorrow we predict a little bit of rain. We expect that fog to lift and temperatures to rise a little bit. Now, temperatures in the mid to high 40s are rather unusual for this part of January going into February, as the average high temperatures for January and February are 31 and 37 degrees respectively. These temperatures in the mid to high 40s are a lot more like what we would see during March. Even though we have atypical temperatures right now, we do expect those temperatures to go down a little bit into the weekend and next week. So during the weekend, we expect to see some of that precipitation coming in from the Pacific coast. Mostly rain, but some snow, with about an 80 to 50% chance of precipitation throughout the weekend. Now, any snow we might see will likely not stick around due to the high temperatures above freezing and the rain that we'll get. Going into next week, we expect to see some sun on Sunday and temperatures to dip a little bit, but still staying in that high 30s to low 40s range, a bit more like the average temperatures for February. Again, coming into next week, we might see some more rain and snow, but again, mostly rain, and not expecting any snow to stick around. Low temperatures are expected to dip during the weekend, but come back up to around freezing next week. Now that you're all caught up in weather, let's go back to the desk.
Thanks, Joe. You might know the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering is this week in Elko, Nevada. Did you know that the collection that helped start it is here at Utah State? I checked out special collections to show you that's just a start. This is the sound of the Special Collections and Archives room. The room is quiet, but staff says they keep busy.
Special Collections and Archives has been part of USU's history since around the 1960s. Archiving generally started in the U.S. in the 1930s and was part of a growth movement of better documenting systems, structures, organizations throughout the United States.
Jen Kirk states that Special Collections and Archives room runs through many donations throughout the community. One of them being Leonard J. Arrington, who is the chair of Mormon and History Culture. Arrington's is one of many, like the L.J. and Mary Skaggs Cowboy Poetry Collection.
We have 7 curatorial areas in Special Collections and Archives, and then a couple of catch-all things just to make sure that we're properly documenting the history of Cache Valley, northern Utah, and how it has changed over time. That's really our primary mission statement, is to help document. So we're collecting materials that are created now.
You can find the Special Collections and Archives room on the lower level in the Merrill Krazer Library. Open weekdays at 10 a.m. through 4 p.m. Julie Rodriguez, ATV News.
If you or someone you know needs a warm place to sleep at night, the William A. Bernard Warming Center is open to you now until the end of March. Found at 85 East, 100 North in Logan, you enter the Warming Center from the east entrance of St. John's Episcopal Church, next to Lenone. The center is open daily from 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. The center provides cots or mats with bedding for sleep, as well as water, food, and hygiene items. Pets are also allowed. The center is always looking for volunteers and donations. There's a link for that on our Facebook page.
USU students and Cache Valley residents take to the east field of Elk Ridge Park to show off their own trebuchets each October, but is that the only time you can see objects getting launched? ATV Ryan Lawrenson, you to see Cache Valley's own piece of medieval history.
In the foothills above Richmond, Utah, stands the Sentinel.
It stands guard over Cache Valley. It looks really awesome.
Yep. A working replica of a medieval trebuchet built by Utah State alumni Daniel Bertrand and his friends.
I started as an engineer, and then I got into the pumpkin toss.
Just like here in October 2023.
Then I went into history, and I said, why don't we build a real historically accurate trebuchet for the pumpkin toss?
Which Daniel and crew won.
It is an experience like no other to be able to help out with living history like this.
You can feel like a medieval peasant filling some sandbags.
Right now we're lifting up about what is the equivalent of a metric ton, just the 4 of us. And now a crew of 4 can usually get that done, but back in medieval times it would take about 6 or 7 if you wanted to be really quick during a siege.
Terrence says his most memorable experience was when the crew launched fireballs on New Year's Eve.
It felt like watching a movie, but in real life, like something that you never imagined you'd get to see.
But it's not all just the fun and games.
It's taken me quite a few years to get here.
When it comes to building your own, Bertrand says,
don't get too ambitious and build this right off the bat, because you can hurt somebody, so start small.
In fact, he says he and his crew are still learning things.
Last year we broke it again and had to fix it.
Bertrand also says he loves when people come out to watch the trebuchet launches.
That's one of the big reasons I can do this. It's not a solo sport.
This is one of the most fun things for me, and I think one of the most fun things for anybody out here in Cache Valley to come out and experience.
Just like they do each year at the pumpkin toss. Ryan Lawrenson, ATV News.
To find out when Bernard and his crew are going to be launching again, check out their Facebook page. And coming up,
For Utah State, Brown comes off a screen, lines up a three.
That was one of Darius Brown's 3 3-pointers made on 7 attempts. Ryan Lawrenson will join us in studio for ATV Sports after the break.
It was after shooting with your phone that you wanted to up your game, so you got a better camera. But your shots were shaky, so you got a tripod. But your audio was fuzzy, so you got a mic. But your shots were dark, so you got some lights. Now you got all this equipment, but you don't know how to use it. So you enrolled in Intro to Video.
Something for a program that has had a lot of success. The three.
That rebound by junior forward Great Osobor was one of his 10 total in the Aggies' win over the Boise State Broncos on Saturday. Welcome to ATV Sports. I'm Ryan Lawrenson. We'll pick it back up in the first half where Utah State leads by 6 in front of a sold-out Extra Mile Arena. A missed Bronco jumper led to an Aggie rebound, this time by senior guard Darius Brown II. Watch the easy pass to freshman Mason Falslev, who takes it all the way to the rim with an easy layup, making it an 8-point lead. The Aggies had 36 total rebounds. How about another one for Falslev? The Aggies passing it around, looking for the open lane, when finally Osobor makes contact with Falslev. Good for another layup. The Broncos rallied, though, to make it a 2-point deficit for the Aggies just before the half, as this shot by senior guard Ian Martinez just misses the net. But this game was far from over. In fact, this game needed overtime to find its winner. The Aggies are fresh off 2 of Osobor's made free throws, putting them up by 4 with just over 2 minutes left. The Broncos inbound to sophomore guard Jace Whiting, who initiates some passing, and the ball finally settles with senior guard Chibuzo Agbo. He squares up to take a 3 over the 6'8" Great Osobor, who blocks and steals, handing the ball off quickly to junior guard Josh Aduje for the easy slam dunk. That leads the Aggies to the 3rd straight win over Boise State and their first win against the Broncos on the road since 2019. Final score in Boise, 90-84. The now 17th ranked Aggies took on the Spartans from San Jose State last night, winning in dominant fashion with a final of 81-62. Great Osobor led the team with 31 points. Women's gymnastics started their home season off with a bang against Air Force last Friday. The Aggies chalked the chalk and walked the walk, leading 3 events in Friday's Mountain West meet. Senior Brianna Brooks led things off for the ladies on vault, scoring a 9.825 on this backflip with a full twist. Nice landing there too. And check out senior Juliette Boyer here with the same moves. Nice approach. Look at her concentration. Up she goes, and she sticks the landing. Good for a 9.775. On to bars. How about this dismount from Brooks? She scored a 9.8 with this one. And check out head coach Kristen White's reaction on this beam dismount from first-year Aggie Maya Whitty. Good for a team-high 9.825. The Aggies did have some struggles in their floor routines, but junior Amari Evans made this look easy with flair and swag. She tied the team high with 9.75. The Aggies came out on top
194.95.
And their next home meet is this Friday against Southern Utah. Men's tennis had a doubleheader weekend at UC San Diego, winning 4-2 in the first match, then 4-0 in the second. The Aggies play at Idaho State next Friday, then again at home on Sunday against Montana State.
Track and field had 2 meets over the weekend in both Seattle and New Mexico on the same day. The team took home 16 total top 10 finishes, including a first-place finish by freshman Landon Bott at the New Mexico Open. And the 6th-ranked hockey team in the West won 2 of their 3 games over the weekend, both ending 5-2. The team is down in Ogden this weekend for the Wasatch Cup. And speaking of hockey, you may not have to wait much longer for another pro sports team to come to Utah. Last week, Utah Jazz owner Ryan Smith and the Smith Entertainment Group announced their intention to, quote, initiate an expansion process to bring the NHL to Utah on a permanent basis. According to a press release from SEG, they have been in discussions with the league since early 2022. The NHL responded later that day saying, quote, Utah is a promising market, end quote, and that the league looks forward to continuing discussions. In fact, Utah leaders are already on board with the idea of bringing hockey to Utah, and we'll bring you more information as it comes. But for now, you're all caught up on sports. Back to you at the desk, Savannah.
Thanks, Ryan. When is the last time you read a physical copy of the newspaper? I went to USU Student Media to show you how the Utah Statesman keeps up with the times. It's 6:45 in the morning, and hundreds of copies of the Utah Statesman are on their way to buildings on Utah State University's campus. But are these papers still relevant? A USU Student Media Program Coordinator says yes, however, a few things have changed.
When I was a student, we printed 3 newspapers a week. So we had a Monday paper, a Wednesday paper, and a Friday paper. And now we're down to 1 day a week.
In the university archives, you can see the first editions of the school newspaper were based heavily on ads. Now, editors at the Statesman say the newspaper is centered around student interests.
Our newspaper is solely student-based, so we try our best to put things in that paper that students would want to pick up.
Bingham says they use social media to interact with their viewers. In one Instagram post, students rated cafes on campus. Aggie radio host Reagan Harrison says the Statesman collaboration with the station is another way to keep students interested.
We're able to reach out to our DJs that have radio shows, and they submit like 5 songs, and then we get that in the newspaper.
And if students read these newspapers,
music ties everyone together.
Savannah Bernard, ATV News.
You might be familiar with ghost stories. Did you know that Raby West is surrounded by these type of stories? I checked out these stories in Raby West.
When students are entering Raby West, they don't consider about the ghost stories that are attached to the building. Their only thoughts are to go to class, participate, and to either leave the building for their next class or to go home. Goodsell states that in the first stories in Raby West that a grad student was studying during COVID and had this intense feeling where he had to leave the building. He tries to brush that feeling off multiple times, but in the end, he packed his things up, ran down the steps, and never studied here again.
In room 306, a group of students in a class held a seance with a Ouija board, which is never a good idea. And they said that they made contact with a student who played football. He was a quarterback in the 40s. And they didn't get a name or anything. We don't know why he's stuck around.
There are many stories and incidents that have happened inside the building.
It has the second most fainting incidents of any building on campus, second to the student center. Between the second and the third floor, people hear like footsteps and screaming, like on the stairs, but also just if you're on the third floor, they hear it below them, and on the second floor, they hear it above them.
Thanks for joining us on this edition of ATV News.
You can find this and other editions on our Facebook page. We'll leave you with more shots of the Polar Plunge.
Have a great week, Cache Valley.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Do you want to work in social media, sports, creative video, event planning, or philanthropy? All of this comes from a public relations degree. The demand for PR graduates continues to be strong. With good paying jobs everywhere, PR professionals are able to work in every kind of organization, giving you the opportunity to work in environments that are challenging, rewarding, and fun, as well as on important issues and causes that you care about. Make a difference with a PR degree.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back.
when you want to talk, I'm here.
Coming to college with high male expectations? Don't be fooled.
No. Oh,
Are your male expectations not meeting your reality? Let your male expectations become your reality at USU Dining Services.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.